Today's tough question is now, and it's brought to you by Andy Mason of andymasonrealestate.com.
Today's tough question. Take a side. Take a stand. The Dave Hooker Show, a presentation of offthehooksports.com.
All right, Joe Milton described as, quote, the most dangerous guy by an anonymous coach via the old ESPN. I think they started it, maybe not, but the anonymous coach thing. And by the way, I've written these stories before, and you have to go into this as a writer with the anonymous coach, Caleb, as he may have an axe to grind or he may have an agenda. So it just wouldn't surprise me if an anonymous coach wanted to put more hype on Tennessee in hopes that they come tumbling down. So know that any of these anonymous coaches' quotes, about 25% of them have a strong agenda. If you have a really good relationship with a coach, then you can get stuff out of him. But Joe Milton, the most dangerous guy by an anonymous coach. So today's tough question, the other players that made the list in the SEC, would you take Joe Milton over those players? And it's brought to you by Andy Mason, andymasonrealestate.com. I'm about to make a real estate move. Andy Mason's the only person I need to call. Andy is absolutely phenomenal. Best service, best prices in the biz. So would you take Joe Milton over blank is today's tough question. Would you take Joe Milton over Spencer Rattler, who made the list as far as, well, I didn't make a list. He was mentioned in this story. Would you take Joe Milton over Spencer Rattler?
Yes, because of the offensive coaching. I'm sorry, Spencer, but you have one of the worst. If it wasn't for Mike Bobo, you'd have the worst offensive coordinator in the SEC coaching you this year.
But what if you just traded them in January?
No, I take, if you're talking about just in all things being equal, I'd probably take Spencer Rattler. I do think he's better.
I would probably take Spencer because of his natural mobility. I mean, I think Joe Milton's going to be able to get up and run, but I think it takes him a couple strides to get going. And I don't think he's comfortable in the pocket yet, so he doesn't know when to run. So I would take Spencer Rattler barely. Jaden Daniels.
Which is, by the way, no one talks about this. That's an issue because when the design runs with the quarterback, you got to go in Josh Heupel's offense. I mean, you got to hit the hole like a running back, honestly.
Absolutely. Jaden Daniels, you and I both like. I think we'd both take him over Joe Milton right now. Would you?
Yes, in a heartbeat. Okay. In a heartbeat.
Agreed. KJ Jefferson. I think people love KJ Jefferson because there's not a great quarterback in the league. It's a down year of quarterbacks. And he's been around a while. And and he's big and he's kind of a good story. He kind of reminds me of a slimmed down Jared Lorenzen. He's just been around for a while. He has skills. He's a little plump. I would take Joe Milton over KJ Jefferson. I don't think it's close. You?
It's close. It's coaching. Again, it's Dan Enos versus Josh Heupel. I'm taking Josh Heupel. KJ Jefferson was ahead of Hendon Hooker last year on all SEC teams, funny enough. I haven't seen a quarterback, and Dave, maybe you could educate me. Eric Ainge, 2005 notwithstanding, because that was a weird year. When has a quarterback had a splash year, and then the next year they have a massive drop-off for no reason whatsoever? They just weren't as good. They don't really have a comeback the year after. I mean, the guess is kind of like KJ Jefferson got figured out, I feel like, more than anything last year.
So you're not talking about Tennessee. Any SEC team had a splash?
Yeah, any college football team. I don't know of a quarterback that had a great year and then had a major drop off the year after for without any like exterior factors. They just were significantly worse, and then they rebounded their third year. I feel like if you have a drop off the way KJ Jefferson did, it's because coaches figured you out.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a comfortable quarterback. He doesn't look like he's seeing the game unfold. It seems like the game's unfolding and then he responds to it, which are two different things. You want to see a second ahead. Will Rogers, Mississippi State. Would you take Joe Milton over Will Rogers?
Yes. Rest in peace, Mike Leach. But let's call it what it is. I mean, have you ever trusted a quarterback that played for Mike Leach when they weren't playing for Mike Leach?
Fair point. Devin Leary at Kentucky. Now, Leary entered the 2022 season as an NFL draft prospect at NC State. He had 35 touchdowns in 2021, but after a so-so start, he got a torn pectoral muscle against Florida State, ended his season. So he transferred to Kentucky. Now they have Liam Cohen, who is now their offensive coordinator. He came from Penn State, and he helped accelerate Levis's development. So thoughts on Leary? He seems like he's stepping into a better position than Florida State, and he wouldn't have been the starter.
I'm going with Devin Leary, and Liam Cohen is the best offensive coordinator hire, the best assistant coach hire made this year in the SEC by far, and Tennessee needs to be a little scared of that.
Yeah, I would go with Joe Milton, but it's close. It's very, very close. Jackson Dart at Ole Miss. I'm going Joe Milton.
I'm going Joe Milton. Although, again, Jackson Dart does have some good coaching down there. I mean, whatever you want to say about him, we trust Lane Kiffin's offensive coaching. But yeah, I'm going Joe Milton.
True. And then Carson Beck at Georgia. Look, I know Beck has a ton of talent, but I'm going to take the guy that has even more talent and has played in the SEC. So would you take Joe Milton over Carson Beck?
Well, Beck's most famous song is Loser. See what I did there? And so because of that, he loses to Joe Milton on this.
All right. He's just throwing heat on him on Monday. I knew he would.